What's up, y'all? Lee here, and welcome to Terra 2, home of a depressed cannery, an abandoned town, and many secrets to be found. In today's video, I'll be going over many of the interesting things found on Terra 2. However, this video will mostly focus on Edgewater and everything within the area. So as we begin, I hope you like this video and subscribe, and show your support down in the comments below, and let's go ahead and begin. So to really begin here, not even a couple hundred meters away from where the Unreliable has landed, we have found ourselves a Marauder Camp. Now of course you won't necessarily find anything better than a couple of Marauders and maybe a little bit of loot laying in bins and scattered about on the ground here and there. Now I know necessarily that this may not be the most interesting thing to show off, however, there is another more interesting location further down the road that we can see right here. So heading down this diverging path, we are heading towards the coastline. Now, about halfway down this path, we can see what appears to be the body of a Inhumer, kind of like Silas whenever we first meet him at Edgewater, being munched on by a group of enemies. Canid is how I believe that they are pronounced. And killing these enemies, we can see that this is a fairly recent grave, which is rather interesting. However, further on down this path, we can find something that's even better, depending on whether or not you like loot. So as we can see, we have an abandoned ship here, rather some debris, and while there are no enemies to fight, we do have a couple of scattered bins, and a very good loot bin hidden around this debris. And of course, any loot that you can find, whether or not what difficulty you are playing on, is a game changer and is always a good thing to see. So, jumping to our next location, after speaking with the Junior Inhumer, and heading down the main path into Edgewater, we can see that the building to our left here is open. Now, of course, everything inside is going to be marked as stolen property if we pick it up. However, if we gain access to this bin here, if you have the lockpicking skill and the Mac picks required, you can gain a couple of new things. However, sitting on the table is a laptop that we can gain access to, which has a couple of interesting files. Now, of course, I will show these on screen. However, I will not read these out. If you would like to read these, go ahead and pause the video. They'll be up here for a couple of seconds as I scroll through. However, aside from this building, there is little else to see. So let's go ahead and jump on to the next location here. So quickly getting into the highlight of this video here, as you can see we are in the elevator that takes us up to Reed's office. Now, as many of you know, many of the characters in the Outer Worlds are killable. And, as many of you might not know, there is a little sealed office in Reed's room that requires a key card to gain access to. Now, there is only one way that I know of to gain access to this key card, and me mentioning killing everybody is a little hint as to what this might be. So, to gain access to this room, if you really want the lore behind everything and you want to have full access to the mayor's office, well, pull out your favorite instrument of killing in this game, aim it at Reed's head, and do your business. Now, of course, if you kill Reed in front of Parvati, she will get mad, interrupt everything, stop what you're doing, turn to talk to her immediately. Now, is this a skill that I would use in this situation? Not necessarily. However, if you are a determined individual and you have a determination of only 5 points, you can completely remove the fact that you just killed her boss in front of her face, and she'll stay as a companion. Now, isn't that wonderful? So, getting rid of these corporate guards and looting Reed's body, we have the key card, and now we can go over and open up this door. So heading into this room, we can see that the lives of a mayor and his corporate guards were worth a loot bin and a laptop on the far edge of the wall right over there. Now, of course, you are the personal ruler of your own game, and you can choose whether or not you want to do this. However, before you do, just remember that you're probably sending a whole town into chaos to get whatever is on this laptop. But nah, that's just my personal opinion on the whole thing. And heading over to this laptop here, of course, same thing as before. If you wanted to read this, I will leave this up on screen. However, once we are through scrolling through these, if you wanted to pause and read them, go right on ahead, but we are going to shoot right on over to the next location now. So our last few areas here will be heading directly out of Edgewater and out into the open wilderness of Terra 2. However, our first location that we will go back to is this door directly outside of what looks like a cargo storage here. This door can be easily picked, and inside you will find a couple of loot bins and access into the cannery behind what was a sealed door. Now our next location here is again another pile of debris by the crossroads heading out the main stretch of roads. Now there is no trouble getting inside of this at all, merely go up this hill, and if you have it unlocked you can always just dodge forward and gain access into this debris. If not, you could always just jump inside. It might be a little bit harder, but you can still do it, and you will find yourself a couple of loot bins and free loot. Now here's one location that I thought was rather funny. Heading up from the community center up to the botanical lab, you will stumble upon a group of houses. Well, if you have a sharp eye, you can see that most of these doors are unlocked and free to open as well. However, one of these doors are locked. Now inside this locked door is a rather funny scene. We can see a resident holding a wrench right next to a destroyed sentry bot. Well, this guy turned out to be tinkering illegally with this sentry bot, and it must have backfired. I don't know if that's really funny, but I kind of thought it was. However, going through this loot, we can see that we have a plasma rifle, and the other houses, they generally don't really have much aside from maybe a few bits of ammo and a couple other necessities that you may or may not need. So coming upon the last two locations of our list here is the Primal Nest. Now, I would not advise coming in here unless you are high level and prepared, as you will soon see why whenever we have to battle these primals. Even though I am currently on easy difficulty for the function of this video, if you are on a higher difficulty, you might not be prepared for what is about to come. However, taking our first steps in here, we can see that we have a commander and a bad scene in front of us, but we have a loot bin. So let's go ahead and get our loot out from here, and from the side it looks like we have a couple of primals. Now I'll go ahead and let this battle play out, and you can see why it might just be a little bit tough to go through here. Now, I may not just be the best fighter, the best gamer, but as you can see, we still took a lot of damage even on easy. So with all that being said, it looks like we have got our hands on something though, a unique weapon. It is the Old Reliable, a light machine gun that can pack a heavy punch. Now, we can't just get our hands on a weapon like this and leave it untested. From the looks of it, we have another batch of primals off the side here that would be great targets for a weapon like this. So let's go ahead and see what this bad boy can do. So coming on to our last location of the video here, we can see another sad sight. It looks like a group of Marauders got gnawed to death by a group of Canid, and clearing out all of these enemies here, it looks like it's nothing more than just a sad scene and a couple of loot bins and scattered ammunition all around. However, there still is hope. It is the end of the video, y'all, and I hope you all enjoyed. Now, while this may not necessarily be everything that is interesting in Terra 2, especially on Edgewater, it is everything that I thought was rather interesting. If you'd like to see more, go ahead and leave that comment down below and tell me what you thought of all this. If there's anything else you'd like to see, if there's anything else you'd like me to do, let me know. Subscribe, like, and I will see you in the next video.